Hello, my name is Nick Folletti, and welcome to this presentation of the War of 1812. Today we'll be talking about the causes of the war, more so, than the actual war itself, just to give a brief introduction and ideas of why this war started in the first place. So the first thing I'll ask of all of you, what do you know about this war? What is anything that you know, any topics, anything that stands out? Usually students will answer with the burning of the White House. Playing of the national anthem was written during this war. Napoleon, as you see on the screen right here, that's him, big part of this war. Battle of New Orleans, Andrew Jackson, this is him right here. A lot of things happened during this war that affects the United States moving forward and in our present lives today. Our objectives and our goals today, the student will be able to explain the causes of the War of 1812. Our target audience is students, of course, peers, colleagues, and parents. This presentation will be shared via YouTube for easy access for any students or anyone who wishes to watch this presentation. So here are some main ideas or main causes of the war. Number one is impressment of U.S. sailors by British Navy. Like we said earlier, Britain was fighting France and Napoleon at the time. A lot of their battles were on the sea, and impressment was the taking by force U.S. sailors to serve in the British Navy. They thought they had their rightful claim to it, and this angered a lot of people in Congress to declare war on Britain. Another cause was American imperialism, expansionism. Imperialism is a policy where to take more land by force, and you see all throughout the 19th century, as the United States was looking around, they saw Britain, they saw France, Spain at this time, very big empires. They were looking to expand somewhere, and you see Louisiana Purchase at this time was bought from France to try to expand our little country at the time compared to everyone else. Expansionism is the same thing. It's trying to expand, and the best way the United States could was west. You see Louisiana. You see all through the Midwest, which was just Native Americans at the time. A lot of land to explore. Lewis and Clark was sent there to explore it, and that leads to our next point. Britain's support of Native Americans. Native Americans were living all through reservations, all through the Midwest, especially north, towards the Great Lakes, which a lot of these battles take place. They were giving them ammunition, support, food, basically to rile the feathers of the United States and increase tensions with them. Another main idea was trade restrictions with Europe. The economy took a big hit with the Embargo Act, which restricting trade with France and Britain at the time, which angered both sides, and Jefferson really hurt the economy at the time, and it was left to President Madison to really fix the economy. So here's a map of Louisiana Territory that was taken. Right here is all we were really given to take, but we ended up getting all of this. You see all this territory. And all through this territory, a lot of Indians were living in, and a lot of this was undiscovered, so Sir Lewis and Clark, they take a trip over, I think it was 2 years, for this Jefferson to really telegraph the land. A lot of journals were taking place. But in regards to this war, a lot of the battles took up here, and you see these red spots. A lot of disputed land was trying to get to Canada, because then the United States was trying to expand north too, for Canada. A lot of battles took place north, and having these disputed lands in the United States' control would lead to better access to Canada for trade and more control for imperialism. So here's a political cartoon of imperialism. I like to use this for my students to give a better picture of what artists were drawing at the time and moving forward throughout history. First thing I ask students, what do they see? What sticks out? Usually the answer is Uncle Sam right here. That's an easy icon to figure. It doesn't look too happy. Next thing usually people ask, or students ask, well, what's going on with these 4 children? As you see, there's the Philippines, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Cuba. All throughout the 19th century, each of these territories would come into conflict with the United States of how they expanded or through imperialism. Another point is a Native American back here. They're always pictured as just kind of there, never really given much respect or time. And in the treaty that ended this war, that gave the land to the United States, they weren't even there. They weren't even represented. Tecumseh, their leader at the time, not even there for the treaty process. Another one is an African American person right here. Again, at this time, slavery was still a key component in the United States. Kind of just there observing, no freedoms, no citizen rights, just kind of hoping to learn something, just being there. And of course, there's women here who have more rights, but again, women's suffrage wasn't until the 20th century, and progressiveness will start to increase at this time too, for more women's rights, right to vote, and so on and so forth. So just to give a little more on the sea, impressment is recruitment by force. You see the picture right here. British Navy taking U.S. sailors into their navy to fight Napoleonic Wars. After the French Revolution, he really rose to power and caused a lot of conflict. And the United States stayed out of it for the most part until the Chesapeake, which was a U.S. Naval boat, in 1807 was taken over and controlled by Britain, which really set the strides for war. So here's our exit ticket for today. You're going to answer both questions on your exit ticket. Number 1, you're going to name one cause of the War of 1812. Number 2, you're going to list one other thing you learned today about the War of 1812.